We're at the start of a new world. As the leaders of challenger brands in CPG, we've got to lean in. And my next guest here today is one of my oldest and best friends, a man named Paul Adams, who's head of product and marketing at a multi-billion-dollar company, Intercom, which you probably recognize. Intercom is betting their entire future on AI, and Paul is here today on the show to tell us, as the leaders and founders of CPG companies and challenger brands, how we need to think about the new era that we are in. We talk about the S curve, we talk about how big this is going to be, we talk about how you need to think and lead your business going forward. And in fact, this episode made such a mark on me that I set up the Next Gen CPG WhatsApp community and LinkedIn page, which you should join. Let's dive in and see what we can all learn and change the way we think and be ready for this next era, this beginning of this next S curve of technology that is going to change the way we work and live. Paul Adams, head of product and marketing at Intercom. Welcome to Brand Growth Heroes.
Thank you, Fee. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. So look, for all of our listeners who are thinking, I don't know what Intercom is, I don't know who Paul Adams is, why has Fee got Paul on? Paul has been one of my best friends since 2001, maybe, right? And we knew in London that you were bound for massive things and you went on. You're going to tell us why you're on today. But basically, Paul knows more than anyone I know what the future is going to look like with AI and the new world that we're all going to live in is going to look like. And what I asked Paul on today was to tell us, as founders and senior leaders in CPG, what we need to plan for, right? What we need to plan for in terms of what the new world is going to look like very, very quickly. So Paul, really quickly, give everybody who's listening a lowdown to your background and careers, why you're well placed to blow our minds today.
I'll try and blow your mind.
You will.
So thanks. After Fee and I became friends in London, I was working at Google in London first, and the Google team, the company Google, had their mobile team in London because mobile was so unimportant. They'd shipped it off to a very faraway place. Silicon Valley is the home of Google. And at that time, you don't put your best things, most important things in London. So the mobile team was there and I joined and worked in the mobile team. We were building the first ever versions of YouTube and Gmail on phones. It was exciting and cool at the time, but nothing like what we were about to experience. I worked there when the iPhone came out. And so if you worked in Google, when the iPhone came out, we were building the first version of Android, first Google phone. It was like, one of these one-way doors. Technology happens in cycles. All the cycles have the same pattern. They're the same every single time. It's very, very predictable. You can study history and fairly accurately predict where technology is going to go. And we were at the beginning, these things are called S curves. They kind of have an S shape. So in the very beginning of the S, adoption is really low. People are cynical and skeptical. They don't see the application or value of the new technology. And then as it becomes more common and people do see the value, mass adoption occurs. And eventually this kind of thing, this like adoption curve starts to flatten out at the top, which is the end of the S curve. And that's when the thing is kind of done. And actually, I'll show you an example.
Yeah.
This is my phone.
Yeah.
There's my kids on it.
Nice.
But it's a black rectangle.
Yeah.
And everyone watching this has a black rectangle. I promise you.
That's true.
Pocket.
I've got a black
Because
rectangle.
it's done. Yeah, the technology cycle is done, right? So like Android and iPhone, or Android and iOS, iPhones, Google phones, they're all the same. At the end of these S curves, a new one always begins. And you can go back all the way back to history, and you'll see this pattern. And so the S curve for mobile is done, and the new one is AI. And I work at Intercom for the last over a decade. Since I went to Facebook after Google and worked with a lot of consumer brands at Facebook. Actually, I was helping the likes of Nike and Starbucks and companies like that build on the Facebook platform.
So they were coming to you going, oh, Facebook is like a place to advertise. What does that mean? Or I remember when I was around that time, I was in Goo, France, and Facebook, all of a sudden we could have a business page, and then we didn't know what to do with the business page, and then we could advertise. Was that the time that you were working with Nike and Starbucks?
Yeah, it was like 2011, 2010, 2011. Yeah, it was when Facebook was cool.
Yeah.
And the billion user milestone had passed, the company had IPO'd. And so Facebook was hot. and Facebook was trying to build this platform. Like they wanted, at the time when we were working there, like we thought that this was it. There would be no more social network. Facebook had done it. They'd won, or we had won. So all these companies, everyone in the world wanted to build on the Facebook platform and try and like monetize off of it.
And you were in Silicon Valley right at this point, right?
Yeah, we moved from London to Silicon Valley to San Francisco.
And can I just tell everyone, because we're so proud of you, at that time, you were called Silicon Valley's most wanted by who?
Forbes.
By Forbes.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley's most wanted by Forbes, our poll.
I'd left Google for Facebook, and so which at the time was kind of treasonous or something like that.
So you were in Facebook and you were working with all of these big, massive branded CPG companies, and that's why I knew you were going to be the right person to talk us through this next shift. And then you went to Intercom. So what does Intercom do, and where is Intercom going?
Yeah, I left Facebook and joined Intercom, and Intercom's tiny, startup. It was like 12 people. We're now like 1,200 people.
Wow.
What we do, we've changed a lot actually. So Intercom, the first Intercom I joined and helped build was customer communications product. Most people probably used Intercom. It's a little kind of, what you'd experience is like, it's a little kind of chat. Yeah, that you would use to communicate with customers. It's mostly used for customer service, but used for marketing and sales as well. It's like a SaaS company. So we kind of like built a subscription as a service product. And when ChatGPT came out, we had a machine learning team at Intercom building better ways for these chatbots to do customer service. By the way, like most chatbots are terrible, and most customer service is terrible. You can probably blame us for inventing this chatbot originally if you want. The tool is incredibly powerful. It's the kind of use of it that isn't consistent. But anyway, when ChatGPT came out, we had a machine learning team at Intercom. Machine learning is the original way to describe AI.
Right.
Yeah. And so like we didn't call it AI back then, but these things like heavily overlap. And so when ChatGPT came out, we literally had emergency meetings over the course of the next few days in the company. Our machine learning team told us, this is it. This is the iPhone moment. This is like, again, the one-way door. We are through the door, for better and for worse.
Did you know it was coming though?
No.
So how does that happen?
No one knew.
How does that happen that you all didn't know? Like, was it secret, or what happened? What was the click that all of a sudden it happened?
Well, the AI industry is decades old. People kind of don't realize this. Like, there's people working in machine learning for many decades, and there's always been this promise. You see it in like sci-fi movies and stuff. There's always been this promise that we humans will build a supercomputer that's more intelligent than us and be able to do way more things than we can, and so on. And so like it's kind of like long been like a hope or a dream or of a lot of people. ChatGPT wasn't originally designed to be the product it became to be. When it was launched, they didn't know, no one really in OpenAI knew the scale to which this thing would be used and how it would develop. It was like a chat interface, like ChatGPT. Like GPT is the technology, and ChatGPT is like, it's a chat interface into the large language model. So you can talk to the large language model. So you're kind of basically talking to this like super powerful brain. No one knew at the time it would be a huge success, but we could see that it was definitely one of these one-way doors iPhone moments for sure. We could see it kind of like as product strategy people. Our machine learning team could see it as technology people and product strategy people also. And yeah, we bet the company on it because we could see really quickly that customer service would be massively disrupted. Now I think all of humanity is going to be disrupted. We have a phrase internally where we say AI will change everything we do in some way and some things we do in every way. And certainly customer service, AI will change customer service in every imaginable way. We could see it. You could kind of have a kind of a slide, but we can map like things customer service people do and things large language models are good at. And you just map them one-to-one very easily. Look up information, disambiguate and troubleshoot customer problems with people, feed them back the right answer, look up sources, look up data. So like all of this stuff can be done by large language models quite well, just out of the gate, like very, very start of this technology wave. So yeah, we bet the company on it.
That's where people start worrying about jobs. We'll go into that later on in terms of how jobs are going to change within companies. But just for the listeners to put to one side, that's a beautiful little exercise. Things that make our business tick, things that AI does really well, and straight away, should someone be on that looking at, okay, how do we delegate that to AI very quickly so that we can take our people and focus them on other value creation rather than removing people, obviously, because I wouldn't be suggesting that. I'm thrilled to introduce Brand Growth Hero's newest partner, Jolson. Jolson is a leading B Corp certified commercial law firm that specialises in guiding the founders of scaling CPG brands. With long-term relationships with clients like Little Moons, Trip, Eat Natural, Bear, Graze and Pulson, Jolson is also famous for advising the Innocent founders in their landmark sale to Coca-Cola. And believe it or not, they still work with the Innocent founders at Jam Jar Investments today. I'm especially impressed by how Jolson sets founders up for long-term success and by their commitment to championing female founders. Recently, I asked Jolson's managing partners, Phil Hale-Smith and Paul Chappie, whether it really can make a difference from a commercial perspective if you work with a corporate lawyer who not only understands your business, but also knows you and what you're trying to achieve.
The deals that you can negotiate can deliver massively different results because you've got someone that has lived and breathed that for, decades alongside you. And you're often behind the scenes, so you're not actually going to be visible.
It's like having kryptonite in your pocket.
Exactly. That's what Jolson is.
Yeah, we're
Kryptonite in your pocket.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Job
we can
done.
finish now.
Job done.
I'm going to get Paul a special t-shirt with kryptonite written on it now.
Yeah, maybe not in your pocket though, just kryptonite. Huge thanks to Brand Growth Heroes podcast sponsors, Jolson. Now let's get back to the show. Talk to us about how do you talk internally about how the world is going to change for us and when?
It's already changed. The when is in the past. Like more change is going to come, but I'll give you a sense of the scale of this. I was saying earlier, I had a front door to the mobile wave, so I could see that play out. And so, mobile and social kind of went together, or like if you're into B2B technology like me, SaaS went together. So mobile, social, and SaaS as a business model all kind of happened at the same time over the course of like 10, 15 years. Like mobile is about 15 years now. Like 2008 was the iPhone, so we're there. We're like well over 15 years. The wave before mobile was the internet, and that's like your kind of late 90s into early 2000s. And before that was like you can go all the way back. Like before that was Bill Gates, Microsoft, which is like put a computer on every desk. But even more recently, like even over the course of the last 100 years, we've had like mainframes, which were like these big computers that takes up an entire room. Then they were like people used to do all this stuff by hand. Everything that you can do in a computer today, people at some point in the past did it by hand at their desk with pen, paper. You can imagine offices from like a few decades ago. There's secretaries, like literally dozens of secretaries all lined up. Like that's how offices used to work in a lot of cases. And so there was Bill Gates put a computer on every desk. Then that was just like personal computing. Then there was the internet, and because people had a computer on the desk, you could access the internet. And then came mobile and social. The biggest wave we've experienced so far in our lives is the internet. Like the internet was much bigger than mobile. Now, mobile itself was enormous. Completely changed how humanity communicates. Changes how kids learn. Like enormous societal disruption. The internet was bigger than mobile. I'm certain as you can be, that AI is definitely way bigger than mobile and social. And I think, if I had to bet, it's bigger than the internet. I actually think it's going to be substantially bigger than the internet. The reason for that is AI, unlike the internet and unlike mobile, the internet and mobile kind of changes how you do business, but the internet doesn't do work for you. And mobile or such doesn't do work for you. AI does work for you. AI is a worker. Because AI does work and does incredible work at times, it's going to totally change how we work. It's going to unrecognizably change how we work. And so I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to happen really fast. It's already happening so fast. Like we're like at the frontier. We bet Intercom. We bet the company on AI.
What does that mean? We bet the company on AI?
Well, we had a really successful SaaS company, over 200 million in revenue, annual revenue. We saw this kind of one-way door. Someone is going to build an AI-powered customer service solution, and it's going to be better than Intercom. So we can decide to start building that thing ourselves now, or we can wait and probably get destroyed by someone. So we built Fin, which is our AI agent for customer service. Now Fin's going to do all sorts of customer communication. We can talk about that in a sec if you want. And so we built Fin and got it to market as fast as possible because we knew that this is a classic disruption theory. If you wait, someone else will disrupt you. So you got to disrupt yourself. You got to build a future version of yourself. And so we built Fin, the future version ourselves. By the way, and it's been a huge success. I'm glad we bet the company on AI.
Have you launched already? Is Fin out there?
Oh, Fin is over 2 years old, yeah.
So what does Fin do?
Talks to customers and answers all the questions, resolves all the problems.
Why does it do that better than Intercom with a bit of machine learning?
Well, first of all, it's way better than humans. The jobs thing that people talk about isn't going to play out the way they think, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Let's talk about that in a second.
Like we have Fin is now resolving tens of millions of customer problems a year. And most of our customers have not reduced their headcount, and many are increasing their headcount. So like I can explain, there's a thing called induced demand, which basically means if you make something easier, more people do it. So that's going to happen with AI a lot. Like most of the world has a supply problem. Like if you think of things like healthcare, there aren't enough nurses, there aren't enough doctors. The most recent example, I'm kind of going off topic here, but the most recent example is radiology. So for the longest time, AI like futurists predicted that radiography would die because AI is better at humans than reading X-rays, like way better. And when ChatGPT showed up and people could like apply that to radiography to X-rays, turns out, yep, way better. The AI can like analyze and diagnose far better than humans. So people were like, okay, radiology is dead. Radiologists are screwed. Don't go study radiology in college. Turns out that radiography is booming. And there's more radiographers and they're doing great. And the reason is because there was never enough of them in the first place. And now, because of AI, we can make the technology and the service way more accessible to way more people. So way more people are now going and getting X-rays. And also, it turns out the job isn't just taking X-rays. Like that's a crazy reductionist view of what a radiologist does. There's a lot more to it than just reading X-rays. But people have these kind of like fear-mongering narratives. This huge disruption coming. Our jobs are not going to exist in the form they do today in 10 years. No doubt. I have no doubt. But I don't think it's like all doom and gloom. It's not like suddenly people have no jobs. That's not how it works.
So how do you imagine, thinking about you, your family, us, how are we going to be living and I'm thinking about consumers, right? And then we'll link that back to the companies that serve those consumers. How will we be living in a few years' time, in 3-5 years' time? What's life going to be like? Weeks, travel, weekend, leisure, play, work, shopping, browsing physical supermarkets online. How are we making choices? How are we making decisions? Talk to us about that.
I said earlier, the past is the best predictor of the future, right? Like, no, by the way, no one can predict the future. So I'm trying to say things with like certainty where I think I have it, and I'm kind of going to caveat it here and there. No one knows, really. The answer to the question is no one knows. But here's what I think is going to happen. And I'm just like trying to look at these like trend lines and play them out, So like AI is 2 years old. For intents and purposes, 2 years old. In that time, nearly 1 billion people use ChatGPT every week. Nearly 1 billion. So like there are over 800 million people using ChatGPT every week. And ChatGPT is not Google. These are not the same things. They work entirely differently. Google, a crazy successful, arguably one of the most, if not the most successful technology companies born of the internet era. Maybe Amazon are more successful, you could argue. But Google have totally changed their cash cow. Like their cash cow is Google search results and ads, and like more and more ads above the fold, and like scroll. Now you can get an organic link. It's all ads, so it's like a total cash cow for the longest time. And they've disrupted the whole thing with these AI summaries at the top. And they've done that because they have to compete with ChatGPT, because those summaries are what people now consume. People don't. Why would you scroll and click some random link when somewhere else and something else can deliver you this like beautiful summary synthesizing the whole internet? So Google have like disrupted their own business their cash cow because they know what's coming. Like consumer buying decisions are totally changing. This is like only in the like first 2 years of this technology. And if you like, again, think about the internet. I always tell people like, you have to remember, think about this as like the start of the internet. So imagine it's, we're the equivalent of maybe late 90s as relates to this technology. So like in the late 90s, most people did not have the internet. Most businesses did not use the internet. People bought things by going to physical locations and buying them. No such thing as buying online because online wasn't a thing. You didn't even know what that meant, And if someone back then had described things like search engine optimization to you, like it would sound like a madness.
And you'd be saying, why would you be wasting your time on that, for God's sake?
Yeah, and like it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like the biggest waste of human intellect ever. Like crazy. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And so that's where we are now with AI. That's where we're at. It's 1999. People still go to Blockbuster to get their video. People still go to the bookshop to buy their magazine, and they read the news in their daily newspaper, and they leave it all around the house. That's where we are. And so you have to the first thing I keep trying to implore is you have got to appreciate how early we are in this new world. We're in a new S-curve. These things, study history, we're in it. It's irreversible, for better and for worse. AI will be amazing and terrible. We're in it. And there's no going back. So I try to tell people it's 1999. And I say to people you need to become an AI company. Now this is maybe more kind of important for a technology company than a CPG company. But I say to everyone, you need to become an AI company. And then they're like, what does that mean? Do a bit of dabbling over here. I'm like, no. Imagine it's 1999 and someone said to you, you need to become an internet company. You need to become an internet company. It's this, you need to deeply internalize that every way in which you work is going to change.
Bake it into every fibre. Is it unfair to ask you to kind of imagine painting a picture back to our lives, right? Are we going to be going to a different portal than Google, or will it all be seamlessly, if we're going in looking for, dinner tonight or clothes shopping ideas, are we going to be going to an AI portal, or will Google have that AI portal, and will it be learning based on our previous history? What will be different versus what we're doing now?
Let me do 5 years. 5 is far enough into the future that I think some of the hardware changes can come to pass, and they're the harder things. So hardware is your phone. So I said earlier, we're at the end of the phone. The next iPhone will look like today's iPhone. That we're done. That cycle's done. And what people are building now is wearables. So glasses. If you follow any of the stuff in hardware, ears, glasses, rings, necklaces, pendants, wrist things on your hand, bands. So the next era of hardware computing is wearables. And so in 5 years' time, we probably don't carry around a black rectangle anymore. Now maybe we do because it does things the other things can't do. But for the most part, I think a lot of our life will be through things like sunglasses and ears things and wearables. So a lot of the information we get and consume will be through augmented reality. So it's going to radically change for sure. It's going to radically change. And a lot of companies are investing huge money to make this future come to pass. So some version of it's going to work and come to pass. I think Meta are doing kind of incredible stuff in wearables at the moment. So some of this is going to come to pass. What does their life look like? Well, how we consume information is going to totally change, both the way in which we do it through hardware. And by the way, people listening might be like, this sounds like batshit crazy. What, sunglasses with augmented reality?
I don't think it sounds that crazy.
Yeah, if you go to 2005 and wave this thing around,
your phone, yeah.
Yeah, people this is what's going to happen next. But the way the information gets kind of synthesized and delivered to you, that's all going to change too, So to answer your question, you definitely are not going to Google and looking up search results or searching in boxes. I think voice will be a huge interface, a big one. AI is good at voice. A lot, and I encourage people if you haven't talked to ChatGPT or Claude, I use Claude a lot. Claude's by Anthropic.
What does that mean?
Anthropic are a company. So OpenAI builds ChatGPT, and Anthropic is a company that builds a product called Claude.
Why do you pick Claude over ChatGPT?
They're very similar products. There aren't massive differences in them. It's just kind of personal habit. We build a lot of Fin on Claude, and we have a very good relationship with Anthropic.
Okay.
And I just like it. It's brand. Like that's
a
actually the
brand.
reason.
Interesting.
The short answer is brand. Why do I pick Anthropic over? Because I like Claude better. The brand, the company, just personal preference. Yeah. By the way, I use ChatGPT a lot too, every single day. Like I use it for work a lot. I use ChatGPT more for specific work things, and I use Claude more for my personal life. But there's no real reason for that. There's other products too, like Perplexity is amazing. Another company and product called Perplexity that people should check out. But here's like a thing I started doing recently. I run a lot, and running is like my, exercise and my therapy. So I used to always listen to music, right? So like running is how I kind of like get away from like a busy life, and I run. And if I don't run, I don't feel as good. So I run and I'll think, but I listen to music for the most part. Recently I've started talking to ChatGPT instead. I still listen to music, but I talk to it.
So funny. I do that too on my walks. Every day I talk to ChatGPT.
Yeah. So like voice is just the most amazing interface. It's the most natural interface. And so, I think a lot of us will just talk to these wearable devices, and they'll be delivering us like recommendations for all the things you mentioned: where to go, what to do, where to eat, what to see, what's happening.
So if I'm a consumer packaged goods company, right, or founder listening to this, even if I'm a scaling brand and I'm already doing 10, 20 million, should I be actually going, okay, I'm going to have to go out there and start looking at all of the ways and taking bets on the future? Or should I just wait until someone like Meta takes a view and kind of delivers it to me and says, right, here's the platform. This is the view we're taking on the future. And you're going to basically create a profile on this, or you're going to be able to migrate, or Shopify will sit into it or whatever. I shouldn't have to, I'm imagining I shouldn't have to take all that responsibility on myself as a founder. Do I just need to keep my ears and eyes open for the moment?
It depends. It depends. What I would say to people is, here's things I think are true, and then people can decide what to do with this. Here's what's true. At the beginning of these S curves, companies you know and love die every time. They don't adapt. They don't change. They think that they kind of wait and see, and they die. And companies you've never heard of before become household names. And then there's like everything in between, And so the beginning of these S curves are like incredibly chaotic. But by the way, like I don't know how much people follow this, but as a quick like side note, all of the ways in which people market and do marketing don't work anymore.
Oh, tell us.
All the efficacy of every channel is reducing. Like the more you do more and you get less and less and less back.
Do you know what? Can you just tell us, because you always were in this, when you were in Facebook and you're working with Nike, etc. We've all felt this for a long time in CPG, but no one has dared say it. Are we right? Have you seen the data to show that all the marketing that we're doing online is actually practically not working?
There's loads of data that shows that efficacy is going down.
I knew it was going down, but like, is it going down to the extent that we should actually just face up to it? That is it a waste of money?
I don't know. Is it a waste of money? I don't think it's a waste of money.
But it's certainly getting more and more challenging.
Like, are people wasting money? Definitely.
Right.
Like, is it a waste of money? No. Like we spend a ton of money on marketing in traditional channels,
So all traditional marketing channels are not working anymore the way they used to.
Yeah. How good they are is reducing, and or the amount you can get from them is reducing, and so that's going to continue. And so, like, in the beginning, like, so marketing is totally changing. Like, I'm a product leader. I've been a product leader all my career, like designer originally. I've worked in and out marketing teams all my life, but I'm leading a lot of marketing at Intercom now because we're reinventing from first principles how we do marketing, like rethinking from first principles, because the old way doesn't work.
So what does that mean, going back to first principles to reinvent how marketing is going to be for you guys?
This might be very specific to technology. I don't know how directly it applies to consumer, but I think it might apply quite well, actually. The old way of doing marketing in a technology company like a consumer technology company, anyone who delivers a product over the internet, was a lot of planning and a lot of orchestration internally and themes and really clear messaging and everyone get on the same page, and then refine, create something really polished, and then launch it.
And test it.
And test it. Yeah, test it, iterate it.
Yeah.
But it was very much organized and polished. And it was brand first. So like the identity is the company. Channel, like content from brands, from companies that is polished. No one cares anymore. No one cares. Maybe they never did, really, to be honest. But like, no one really cares. And all the content that does really well now is from people. So it's from Paul, not from Intercom. Like, why is your podcast so popular, Fee? Because of you. It's not because of the name of the podcast or your logo or your identity. It's because of you and the guests you bring on, right? So marketing is moving away from companies to people. If you're a founder and you love seeing your picture out there, you're going to do really well, and you should do more and more and more of it. If you're a founder who doesn't like that, you need to find someone to be the face of the company, because the content that's doing really well is authentic and real people, and then it's raw. It's like real people doing real things.
So it's not polished. It's basically like you're just saying it like it is on whatever you look like on that day, doing whatever you're doing in the spur of the moment. You don't need to have something that's been orchestrated and made perfect like 1980s ads.
No, you need to just ship. Like, just ship it. Now, like, you just need to ship it. Like, why is it happening? There's kind of two reasons it's happening. Or there's a reason it's happening. Well, it kind of predates AI a little bit. By the way, the other format's video. So, like, it's all video. What do people consume? Video. What do people consume? Videos of people. Like, look at TikTok. Look at YouTube. Look, like, what's the content with the views? People. Riffing, talking, chatting. It's just them. It's real life. It's not polished. Now, obviously, like, people curate what they say and are specific about what things they talk about, but like it's real and it's authentic. And so, like, there's patterns already. This patterns kind of was pre-AI to some degree. Like, TikTok predates AI, but now you have a term called AI slop. I don't know how many people are familiar with this term.
No.
Have you ever heard this term before?
No,
AI
never.
slop.
No.
So also people actually talk about the slop apocalypse.
Slopopoly.
Yeah. Right. So the AI apocalypse of content.
Okay.
So by the way, here's a fascinating thing. Last week, there's a study came out last week. I think it was from Berkeley. I can't remember. University of Berkeley. Anyway, last week, the curves crossed. One curve is content created by humans on the internet, and the other line is content created by AI. And last week they crossed. So last week, more AI content created than human content created. This AI content is terrible. It's slop. It's just awful stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses are trying to, they're trying to shortcut this whole AI thing by using AI to create content for them and using the tools to create content for them, which is really easy to do. The content's terrible. It's awful stuff. It's awful.
But it won't be. It won't be forever.
Well, let me get to that. So, like, by the way, this content isn't awful in the sense of, like, mindlessly scrolling TikTok's not good for your brain. Like, actually, most of the content that you're mindlessly scrolling TikTok that's not good for your brain is like good content, in that it was good enough to get in front of your eyes.
Right.
I'm not talking about that content. I'm talking about, like, just awful stuff. Anyway, so a lot of brands a lot of companies are destroying their brands by producing all this crap. And so here's the thing: in a world where the world's full of AI crap content,
The slop.
real people saying real things will do really well, because people want to see people. People want to talk to people. People want to connect with people.
And does that mean that for jobs, that there's going to be more jobs around having, the right decision making around what is good and what is authentic and what is real? And is that where humans are going to win in jobs? Is that why we're going to be still needed to sift through all this crap?
I don't know about the sifting, but Well, here's another thing we kind of talk a lot about in technology. And by the way, like I think anyone who's got a consumer goods product or brand should look at the technology industry as like the kind of frontier of all of this world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like things that are playing out in our world
Play out in ours,
will
yeah.
play out in all worlds. Yeah. So just recap for 1 second. So people need to like think about all this AI slop. Don't do that. Build your brand. Humans, real, authentic, unpolished. And a thing we're talking about in technology, it's a really awkward word, but people are talking about taste, like having good taste. Like, do you have good taste or do I have good taste? And I'm trying to hire a lot of marketing leaders right now. I'm talking to like a lot of other technology leaders like me, working for like some of the most amazing AI companies. Everyone's kind of trying to hire the same type of people. And one of the attributes of these people is that they've got great taste. So that means that when they make content or they oversee content being made, it's like really good, it's tasteful. And this is a really troublesome term because like, who has good taste, or how do you even measure if someone has good taste? How do you have good taste? You study culture and you study people and you observe and introspect. And so like people can build taste by introspecting, observing culture, observing people, society, following technology, following what's happening with AI, following what people are saying about AI. And you can kind of like reflect on like what's good, what's bad, and over time develop a kind of an instinct for what's good.
Like an internal language model that you've built inside yourself with emotion as well as cognitive layers.
Yeah, and it's the same for anything like food. How do foodies become foodies? Because they eat a lot of food and they talk about it a lot and think about it a lot and read about it a lot. Or like art, how does an art critic or like a fashion mogul, like how do these people become amazing at critiquing art or amazing at like being at the forefront of what's happening in fashion? It's because they study it. And I think there'll be a lot of reward for people who are at the very frontier, cutting edge of this new world, where these like giant new companies and brands get built, for people who can like study, be at the cutting edge and study the kind of zeitgeist and be a part of it and start producing really good content that follows these trends that people are consuming and that are being rewarded by these kind of channel distributors, whether it's YouTube or X or whatever.
So to go back to you guys at Intercom or at Fin, you're going back to first principles. How are you going to adapt the marketing you now do in the future? What choices are you making now versus what you did before?
No one really knows, but here's what we're doing. We've blown up the past. We've blown up how we used to work. Like literally just blowing the whole thing up. And the reason for that, by the way, is I kind of took over kind of large parts of marketing Intercom. And the reason I blew up everything was because people are habitual, like all of us. The human species is so change averse. We hate change. Even the humans who love change still hate it a lot of the time. Like we're really change averse because change is risky. If you go back like 100 years, 500 years, you don't go around just eating random shit off the bushes. Like you don't experiment. You eat the things don't kill you, right? So like and you stay in the cave with the fire at nighttime. Like there's deep reasons why we are a risk averse, change averse species. And so that now plays out in the modern workplace. Like people won't change. They're going to stick to the same thing they did always because that's how they're hardwired. And then they're going to pretend to change. Oh yeah, and there's going to be a lot of pressure to change too. And they're going to pretend to themselves, kid themselves. Like, oh yeah, we're doing AI. I use ChatGPT, without actually like deeply introspecting on, is this ever going to work? And so I blew up everything, and I told the team, the reason I'm blowing up everything is because the only way if you've kind of like crossed the boundary of where you need to be is by crossing the boundary. Like, you have to kind of like go over the boundary and realize, oh shit, everything's broken. All right, now that we know everything's broken, we can add back in the pieces we need. And now we're like at the boundary where we need to be. And people are going to like really struggle with this idea. They're going to keep doing loads of the things that they do today that don't work, maybe never did. And they're going to persist with them and dabble in AI over here but like you can't do it. That's not the future. It's like it's 1999 and you're like playing around with the internet, but you have your Blockbuster store still going, and you're thinking most about your Blockbuster store.
You're based in Dublin, and one of the forefront in drone deliveries is in Dublin. What's the name of the
Mana.
Mana?
Yeah, Mana, yeah.
And there's a couple of zones in Dublin where it's regulated to get drone deliveries within minutes from Amazon or from Aldi or from I don't know who is on board. I can't remember. Have you done it yet?
I have. No, it's not in our area.
Not in your area. Okay.
No, but Des, our co-founder, does it all the time.
Okay. So he's probably one of the people who is at that forefront, cutting edge. I'm not saying Des is wearing a wearable, but he's using his voice to say, hey, Mana, deliver me whatever. 5 minutes later, something's delivered to either the top of bus stops, I think they're using, or because that doesn't hurt anyone's heads. And then it comes down a chute or into your garden. But I was talking to people recently, actually I was home in Dublin last week, and they were saying that there's drones near them. And all night long, the drones are buzzing in their estate and they're dropping things all night long. And the noise is really, really annoying, right? So I'm sure there's a whole lot of regulation piece and behaviour and all sorts of stuff that's going to change that. But if we're a CPG company, right, thinking about how people shop, thinking about, for example, what kind of packaging is, and this is like simple stuff, rather than just, oh yeah, do we have a case of 6, a case of 4? Do we also have a drone delivery perfect, ready, case of 2? Because that's what people want when they order it from a drone. They don't want a case of 4, a case of 6, and they don't want 1. We're going to have to be thinking about little things like that. And getting ahead of that really quickly. And they're small things, or there's like the Yucca app. I don't know if you've got the Yucca app yet in Ireland, have you?
No.
It's YUKA. Everyone here, even on the Isle of Man, is using it, let alone like in London. So it's a French company where you scan any barcode and it will tell you the traffic light system, but it gives it Yucca points. So it'll tell you green, orange, or red based on their own system, their own AI system, but things like additives, real research that's been done. It gives you the source, the research and everything. And I think very soon there will be Yucca scores on packs, and you'll be going around with your wearable. Probably in the future, I'm now doing the imagining, and you'll be doing your shopping with your wearable. Maybe when you go into Tesco, you'll be able to download your Tesco app on your wearable, and then you just be able to look at something and it's added to your trolley, but your trolley's virtual, and then you just go pick up your trolley at the trolley collection place. You don't actually need to necessarily pick anything up.
Yeah, all that technology is coming. Like it's here. All that stuff's here today.
But it isn't mass market, though.
Here's what I think about this stuff. One is like all the technology that you use today. By the way, like we are at the very, very beginning of this S curve I mentioned earlier, AI. There's a parallel one, like mobile and social kind of happen together. The parallel one here is robotics. So like AI and robots.
Okay.
And AI powered robots are insane. Again, like go on the internet and just look up like China AI powered robot, and you can see the things that AI powered robots can do. Like crazy shit, like just unbelievable. It'll blow your mind.
I will Google that. I'm going to do that.
And drones, right? Drones are robots basically. And what I have to kind of always impress my people about, this technology is the worst it's ever going to be. This is the beginning of the internet. The internet used to be terrible, like dial-up modems and
It was
like
awful.
And like people put their PDF, their marketing PDF was their website, right? Like it was awful, but it evolved very fast, and it comes like Shopify emerged and like made it easier to do all this kind of stuff. It's the same. That's where we're at, and so all this technology, it's the worst it's ever be. The large language model that you use, ChatGPT or Claude, it's the worst it'll ever be. The drones are the noisiest they'll ever be. They're not going to get more noisy.
Okay.
They're going to get quieter. Like all this technology is going to get way better. The drones will get to a place where they're very quiet, either because they'll be way higher in the sky, or like both will happen probably. They'll be able to reduce the amount of noise the drone makes. All this wearable stuff is coming, and so the combination of like AI and robotics is going to totally change how we shop. A lot of this though is really hard to plan for. Like if you're like consumer brand, it's really hard to plan for that stuff. Like how do you know? Well, you should experiment for a start and understand the technology, because like good decisions come from knowledge and trying things and experimenting with stuff in a real way, not like a pretend way. So it's really hard to say like how people will shop in the future. I don't even know if we'll go to Tesco like in the same way that we do today. Now, like people said that when the internet showed up, hey, no one will buy in a store anymore, everyone will shop online. But like a lot of people, even today, a lot of shops, especially I think in the US with like flagship cosmetics brands, things like that, the shop is a showroom. It's not a shop, like
Okay.
it's an experience. And I can imagine a world in which that becomes more common, but certainly the way in which people will decide to buy one product over another is going to totally change. I don't know how, but yeah, you're going to have wearables on. You're going to have audio and visual, glasses or ears or whatever, and you're going to be told things like buy this, this is on offer, loyalty points over here, this thing's healthy, this thing's terrible for you. Like all that stuff is going to come.
The amount of noise. I mean, the noise we already have. What's that noise going to be like? And then you've got industries, adjacent industries or opposite adjacents, which is like, the quiet wilderness escapes and quiet coaches, which you'll probably pay to sit for an hour with you every day and say nothing to them.
That's why I go running. I just run away from all the people.
Yeah, but then you talk to ChatGPT.
Yeah, sometimes I do, yeah.
So let's talk about the big CPG. Do you think Nike is looking at all of this? Do you think that...
Oh, 100%.
So how are they looking at it? What are they doing?
60 to 70% of Nike are in total denial. Or maybe I'll go a step further. Like, this might be offensive. I apologize to people at Nike. Half of people at Nike aren't even clued in. They have no idea what's going on. And then another half are like in denial. Because at the beginning of these S-curves, there's loads of skeptics and cynics. Every time, same thing. And then I'd say a tiny minority are like doing things and making things and trying things and building. Like all of this is like you have to make things and you got to ship them, whatever that means to you. Ship them into the real world, get real feedback from real people. Otherwise, you can't learn if something does or doesn't work, So I'd imagine that like a lot of people at Nike, are experimenting a lot. All these huge consumer companies. The other thing is, the more practical way you can probably think about it is how work gets done. Not the thing you make, market, sell, but how work gets done in your company. Like how work gets done is already being transformed. There's huge productivity gains, huge creative gains to be made from people trying these new tools.
How do you avoid the time waste though? So what I'm finding with the companies that I'm working with is, there's companies that are helping you to streamline your ops, your supply chain, your finance, all into one interface. There's companies that are taking all of your data from your supermarkets, and instead of you having a zillion Excels that you're trying to do lookups, they are, bringing it all into one UX lens view, right? And then they're linking that to actions. So there's a great company called Elm, actually, who I think I put you in touch with, Cian. He's brilliant. Where, taking all the EPOS data, interface, and then it's like, oh, okay, we're not in those 5 stores up in Manchester according to our data, and then you can syndicate a field sales visit as a result of that through the actual dashboard. I mean, how amazing is that, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you personally, Paul, internally, how do you make a decision on which tool to jump on board with and which one not to waste your time with? Because I'm sure, I feel like with all of the podcasting AI available and all of the different kind of work efficacy tools available to me, I spend so much time jumping on one and then it doesn't work and jumping on another. And I know all of my colleagues and friends in LinkedIn Network are doing the same. We all seem to be wasting time until we get to the one that's eventually going to win. Do we just wait and then jump on the one at the right time that wins? Because it's so nascent to the industry and there's going to be so many people who just fall away.
Yeah. Well, for start, like there's no winners yet. It's way too early.
So what do you do? Do you just try a whole lot of different things, or do you?
Yeah, I don't think it's wasting time.
Okay.
It's not. You're not wasting time if you're properly doing it. Like if you're properly using the tool. Looking at the website isn't using the tool. Using the tool is actually using the tool. Using the tool for like a pretend use case isn't using the tool. Like using the tool is I've changed something about what I really need to do, like real work or real things. I'm trying real things now because a lot of AI products look great and look like they work, but they don't. The majority of AI products don't work. There's a lot of real rubbish crap. Again, the same as like early internet. any of these early S curves, loads of rubbish. Like think of all the like mobile app store, the first app store, all the apps, rubbish.
But I've got like AI anxiety because I'm afraid that there's so many out there and I don't have time to try them all, but yet I could be missing a trick.
So it's overwhelming.
It is, isn't it?
It's overwhelming. The kind of two pieces of advice I have are, one, you're not wasting time. Like that's like saying, hey, I'll wait till the internet's figured out. I'll wait till the winners have emerged in the internet. Then I'll start to use the internet. I'll still send letters and I'll still put like, leaflets in people's letterboxes, for my marketing campaign. And then when the internet works, then I'll do it. It's like you've lost. It's too late. It's too late. Your competitor's destroying you already. So I don't think it's wasting time. Now you can easily waste time for sure, So like the way, and I've spent countless hours, I regret, and it is overwhelming. There's so much noise, so much hype. I just ask other people, good old word of mouth, social proof, like ask other people, what are they doing? What are they using? What's good? What's not? Like that's kind of, that's what we're seeing with Fin too, like in terms of how we're marketing Fin. It's word of mouth, social proof, customer evidence, like all the, like, the new way of doing marketing for AI, I think will actually go back to basics. A lot of, back to fundamentals. I think it's going to be really good. Back to Mad Men, not the whiskey in the morning part, but the other parts, the good parts. So like, I think it'll be good. Yeah, you have to just do it. You have to try it. I don't think it's not wasting time.
Talk to us about jobs. If you're a founder in a scaling CPG brand and you're thinking about the future of your team, you said at the beginning that people are peddling this myth that, there'll be no jobs anymore. Talk to us a little bit about your hypothesis for what work will look like. If AI is doing a lot of the work of people, what will people be doing in a CPG brand?
The job, like just on the jobs thing, this happens every time too. Like cars used to be made by human beings. They're screwing in bolts into cars. Now it's all robots. Humans do not make cars. Robots do. It's not like loads and loads of car making people wandering the streets looking for a job. Like that's not how the economics of employment work. So like every time it's the same. People change the job. The type of job kind of goes up a level of abstraction, and people manage the people who made the cars now manage the robots who made the cars. Like same for customer service, our space. The people who are doing the customer service work, which is a shit job by the way. Like it's repetitive. Answering the same question over and over, huge turnover of staff, people hate it, can't get people to work in it for long. Those people are now doing way cooler jobs. They're managing the AI, they're designing the AI, they're writing content and knowledge for the AI to use, like higher intellect work, more interesting work. So like that's what happens a lot. To answer your question, in companies, companies in the future will be way smaller. I think we've had this like huge bloat over the last 10, 20 years, huge bloat in companies where hyper specialization and specialists hire more specialists and subdivide their specialism into even more specialists. And you had huge bloat. And the problem with specialism, people optimized for like domain knowledge at the cost of speed. Like more people means slower, and it's worse, like politics, people disagreeing and like looking out for themselves. So if you've less people, you can make decisions faster. And I think the future looks like companies will be way smaller. Like I don't want our company to grow bigger. I am hiring, but I'm trying to do way more with way fewer people. And one of the reasons is because AI is a converging technology. It's merging things together that used to be separate. So like the way we build software has totally changed. We used to have like PM, designer, engineers, 3 distinct roles, and now the roles are really merging because a designer with AI coding tools can be an engineer, and an engineer with an AI design tool can be a designer. So like we're seeing these roles merge, and I think the same is what's happening in product and marketing too. Like I'm currently talking to the team about the idea that like product marketing, content marketing, and customer advocacy are basically 80% the same job. The same, like the people who are brilliant at these things understand the market, understand the customers.
So you're going back to the way it was originally.
Yeah, totally. Back to the fundamentals. Yeah,
I love it.
Back to where it was pre-internet. So like it's an amazing time to be a founder because if you properly go deep into this AI world, like properly, and invest in it, you can do so much with so little. Like there's companies of 2 and 3 people that would have been like 50 people. If you have all the AI tooling around you, and it's early, a lot of this stuff doesn't work properly yet. There's definitely loads of crap products in the market. It's overwhelming. But if you can kind of work your way through it, which just takes time and honestly good old fashioned hard work. We also like enter, this is a whole other side note. I think we entered a time with COVID and things like that where people got fond of not working hard. A lot of people, they got fond of like living at home, like working from home, and
Yeah, not backbreaking stuff.
yeah, and grinding it out. Like,
Grind.
yeah, the grind. Embrace the grind.
Embrace the grind. I love it. Quickly before we wrap up, because I know that you've got a hard stop. Who should we follow? What should we watch? Who should we be following on YouTube or wherever? Where do you get your information? What newsletters? Who should be following on LinkedIn? In order that we try, I know we can't be at the forefront of this the way you are, but who do you get your inspiration from?
I read AI newsletters.
Okay.
So like there's lots of different AI newsletters. Like I can send you links to them.
Please do. We'll put them. Yeah, I'll put them in the notes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I follow AI newsletters. Now that's mostly like technology, AI technology news. Like before we got on here, we were talking about Sora. Like that's things like, hey, Sora 3 is out, or like, hey, someone has built this thing on the back of Sora or whatever.
Sora's incredible. We'll put a link to Sora as well, but be careful.
It's incredible, yeah.
You know the way people can upload themselves to Sora, right? And if you don't know about this, we can't explain it now, so just go and have a look. Sora, right?
Sora 2, yeah.
You can upload yourself, and then you're also giving permission for anyone to use your avatar in anything that they want to create. What about products? So like if I had a product, like let's say Perfect Head, my friends at Perfect Head, my matcha tea, could I upload my matcha tea can and then anyone can create anything they want with my brand? I mean, can brands almost become trending on an AI platform like Sora in the same way as a human could?
That's the exact kind of experimentation I think people should be doing. That's really good practical. I think a lot of what I talked about today is a bit abstract for people maybe, but like practically, yeah, these tools are incredible. VO, Google's equivalent to Sora.
So where could your brand live in this new world?
Well, no one knows.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying almost think about it practically, like brainstorm and then go and do it.
And go and start making this stuff. Like these are all of these tools, all these AI tools are used by prompting them, which basically just means giving them instructions in words. And all of us are good at words. Humans are good. This is why ChatGPT exploded, because hey, it's easy to text. It's easy to talk into a box. And I know how to do that. I do it every day on WhatsApp and Google. It's the same thing. So like you just talk to it. And prompting is a skill that I think everyone needs to get really good at. Prompting just means, people, by the way, overcomplicate a lot of this stuff. Prompting just means being good at giving the AI instructions.
Yeah.
And like telling it what to do and then refining the instructions.
With your objective in mind.
Exactly, yeah. And so like just go to Sora and all these tools and just try stuff.
It's great advice. Paul, thank you so much for coming on today. I really hope everybody out there is inspired to start thinking about how the future is going to impact the way their company works, the way their products are shopped, the way we're all going to live. And even if this does nothing else but makes you sign up for some AI newsletters, follow some new people on LinkedIn, start thinking about this thing, maybe within the next year, it'll become apparent to you as to how you're going to use it and how you're going to move forward into it. But the objective of this really was to just give you some fodder to make sure that you don't just stay stuck doing what you're doing now, because it's all changing.
Yeah, and ignore the hype. It's hyped. It's overhyped. There's a lot of crap out there. It's overwhelming, but it's real. It's real, I just can't encourage people enough. Like it's the next internet, and it's here. Like it's already happening. It's 2 years old. Like the internet is here again. The new one, 2 years ago. You can put your head in the sand, or you can hate all the hype and crap around it. Or like you can get making stuff. Totally.
Paul Adams of Intercom, thank you so much for coming on Brown Growth Heroes today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Fee.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that inspiration. I mean, really, it has just shifted something inside of me. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, when I was introducing Paul, it made me wake up and set up a WhatsApp group, inviting all the UK founders that I know to join that group, to kind of share our thinking and our learning on this journey. I'm about to set up the LinkedIn page. By the time this episode goes live, there will be a LinkedIn page called Brand Growth Heroes Next Gen CPG. Please do join. Please do like and follow the show. Share this episode with anyone who you think will find it useful. And yeah, don't be scared. Lean in. Brands in every single category who are going to win are the ones who take this new shift seriously and lead with open eyes, open ears, and open hearts.